Good morning. Welcome to the 8th day of, what is this? It's December 2016. And the good life meditation for this day. Can't see a darn thing for all the, let me roll these windows down. Can't see anything. So, no meditation yesterday. Well, I did, but I just didn't record it. And that's because I rode my motorcycle yesterday. So I did it in the helmet, and it was very pleasant, very interesting. How doing this with you, the camera, I don't actually know if anyone's actually going to watch. Sorry for that noise. That's defroster. Didn't realize how much editing I do. Until there is no place for the camera, no chance for the camera, like on the motorcycle. And boy, did was I genuine yesterday. It really came out in the most sincere manner. And so there was a lot of emphasis yesterday on something that I call becoming a monster, which I've actually gone ahead and added. I've tacked that on to the sin principle. What is that? Principle 12, I think, the sin and damnation. So in parentheses now it says becoming a monster. And I don't mean it in a way like a Frankenstein, or I mean, obviously, I don't mean anything like that, but I don't mean to call anyone a monster. I simply mean that what I'm trying to imply, and I'll get to it when I get there, is that not living according to your nature or in a social and virtuous manner, virtue defined per my own definition, will cause you to transform, and can cause you to transform, and it can be the death of you or the destruction of you. You can wind up being a monster. That's such a harsh word, but it really does capture it. When I see it in people, or when I see it rising in myself, it's very frightening to see the consequence of avoiding the surface level risks of life, which then open the door for the deeper level risks, and the regret and anxiety and frustration and unhappiness that come of living a life that's not in accord with your nature, not in alignment with social goodness, nor in keeping with the principles of virtue. It's interesting. So I'll get to that. Anyway, moving on. I think I'll stop by Starbucks today. Not that I'm going to do this every day, but just kind of exercising the fact that, hey, I can do this if I want. If I want to. I won't, but I will today, just for the heck. Because yesterday was a tough day. I'll just talk about that as well. Struggle, for the most part, these things that I do, these exercise of the good life, meditation, if anything, what it does is it activates these principles such that they become foremost in my mind and life. They're immediate. I don't have to go searching for them in the moment during the course of the day. When I have a moment that I'm not a very gregarious person, though I like to talk. And when I have a moment when I find myself trapped in a group, they're doing the social banalities, pleasantries, I have to remind myself, be social. Being social is a good thing. Build up the bond, build up the connections with the other human beings. It's good for them. It's good for me. I mean, I don't know if it's good for them, but who am I to say that? But I mean, it's good. I guess it is. It's good. Humans are gregarious social animals for the most part, so it's good for them, I guess, to have that chance to have social intercourse with others, including myself. And it's just a worthwhile thing, especially good for the purpose of team building in a work environment. So I don't have to. It's less after the fact. I don't remind myself, oh, I should have been more social. It's like it's right there. The moment comes, I'm in the break room, the crowd has gathered, the topic has turned to something interesting. It's we have a few minutes to spare for a little leisure, human time, and instead of finding an excuse and dashing off to my desk, the social principle rises in my mind, and I remember this is the time. Spare a few minutes to spare a few minutes. I don't mean it that way. I hate the way that sounds. Like I'm doing anyone a favor. But if I'm doing anyone a favor, it's myself in helping to be more social. You all get the idea. If anybody's out there watching, you get the idea. And likewise, temperance. I'm able to use temperance, a big one. I'm able to exercise that at a moment's notice. In fact, I go into every situation where I think I might need to use it now, and I'm reminded to use it, and I bring it with me. I lay it on the table right next to me, or I'm sitting by my side, following me, hovering like a guardian spirit, so to speak, and whispers in my voice, now, exercise restraint, hold it in, think about the emotions that are coming, respond in a civil, social, virtuous manner with an aim towards improving the interaction with and the relationships I have with other people, while at the same time seeking to solve whatever problem is the source of this anxiety and frustration. It's immediate. And that's because I do this every darn day. I'm convinced of that. Stop for a second. Pull this off. Closer than anyone needs to see. The next but what I'm struggling with now is and I haven't got a principle for this, but I may develop one. There's room for 15. Something to talk about recognizing the limit. Well, I do have a principle for it. That is indifference. And that's something you'll notice when I get to it over at the side there, and when it says indifference, I added a ×2 to that. That's to indicate that there are two types of indifference. There's the great indifference, which is the big nothing out there that doesn't give a damn about us, and little I indifference, which is the ability to recognize the sphere of our control, what we can control, which is mainly just our reaction to the world, and then to live according to that. So I need to work on that one, because I'm finding myself, I know what it is. That's not the problem. It's recognizing what my instruments are, what the tools are, what my real capabilities are. That's it. Principle aligned to recognizing my capabilities, and that's also within the scope of indifference, though, because that's the area of control. I need to expand the little I indifference to be more than just my emotional responses, which I can control, but also recognizing what is it that I actually have control or authority over. Because what I'm finding at work is that there are cases where I need to get things done in my capacity of my job, and I need other people to perform things, and I'm finding I'm stepping over my bounds, my limits, in order to facilitate other people getting their job done, which isn't a surprising thing to do for a project manager, because a lot of what we do is facilitating the furtherance of activities to meet a particular end. So it's part of my job, but I don't want to get too much into my work, but there are other ways. There are other ways to get to a good end. I need to think about that. Pin in that one right there. Now to get on with it, I guess. And did you guys see I started putting some stuff at the front of the videos? Usually what I'm doing, this one probably will be, becoming a monster. Probably be that. Becoming a monster, then a parent, then a hyphen, and then the good life, and then hyphen, and human operating date, hyphen, or whatever, and then human operating system version, whatever. So, and what I wanted to say for that is, if I don't actually start the video out talking about that topic, the words at the beginning there are simply a reference to whatever I talked about in the most detail or the most sincerity during the course of the video. And I can see that when I do the editing, because I can see the sections, which principle have received the most attention, and very easily apply that. But here we are, almost 10 minutes in, and I haven't even started. So I'm going to do this rapid fire, Pam, as we go. With a little bit of an inner break for my Starbucks thing. So the first one is the affirmation of human and civil rights, simply a reminder to make decisions and live a life that protects the smaller individuals and groups, not smaller by stature, but smaller in terms of number and influence in society.
Hi, what can I get started for you?
Hi there, yeah, can I get a venti-sized extra hot latte, please?
A venti extra hot latte?
Yep.
What else can I get for you?
That'll do it.
Yes, Linda.
See ya. A couple times, it hasn't happened yet on the camera, but a couple times I've come up and pulled up and the gal behind, if it's the same gal, she says, usual? venti extra hot latte. She remembers me. I haven't seen her around for a while. Maybe that's it. So next, the 3 objectives. The first is the objective of the development and maintenance of good sound principles. The second is the execution of good emotional reactions through the course of the day. Third is the performance of good actions per the principles. Now let's get on to the 14 principles. Let me get my card. My Starbucks Gold card, which isn't hooked up to the system, so every time I use it I don't get any points, so I gotta talk to them about that, but oh well. See, that's within my control. I can do that. Getting upset about not the fact that Starbucks sent me a card without being connected is something I can control as well. I cannot get upset and recognize what I can do, which is contact them and ask them to hook me up, so to speak. Here we go. Hi, good morning.
Hi.
All right.
Good, how are you?
I'm good. How is your day going? Starting off good?
Yeah, it's gonna be my Friday today.
Oh.
Today's my Friday.
Oh, really? Oh, sometimes it is mine. I have some Thursday, Fridays, but it's not me. Tomorrow I work.
Yeah, so today's my Friday, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Good. You got a 3-day weekend maybe, or?
No, I have to be here back on Monday, but still, it's like I get 2 good days off.
Good for you.
Friday and Saturday. Yeah.
That's excellent.
That's nice.
Yeah, and the rush is about to start, right? All the cars are about to show up any minute.
At
7?
7, like that's when peak starts.
All the regulars?
And then it stops probably until like 11, and then probably have like I want to say like 20 minutes to catch up, and then our lunch rush.
You have like a 7 to 11 rush?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just because like all the businesses around us.
Oh.
Yeah, and like their lunch also kind of like varies. It's weird because like I get people in here at like 10. They're like, "Oh, I'm on my lunch," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Weird.
Yeah, so I'm just like, okay.
Whatever they do. Thank you. You have a great day. Enjoy your holiday or day off. Sorry, that took a little longer than usual. But hey, there you go. See, now that was me executing my principles right there. Right? Because, I mean, I enjoy talking to young, pretty girls as much as the next guy. So it really didn't take a lot of work. But I actually did give it a thought. I thought, this is the chance. Okay, here's a gregarious, friendly young woman, talkative. This is a chance to be social and to try to sincerely have a nice communication, even if it's just for a few minutes, and further both of us in terms of our spirit and energy because we're beginning our work day. Okay, I got onto it. Here I am, 13 minutes, and I still haven't even begun the principle. So, I have the ability, even though I rarely show it. I don't think I've ever shown it. I have the ability to go fast, if necessary. Oh, this side, green. Okay, here we go. First principle, the atomic principle. So forgive me if I kind of do it by rote. Atomic principle, everything is made of bits and pieces, small atoms and molecules that change and form and become something else, and watch out because soon you're going to be something else, and what you are now will never be again. 2, the principle of nature and the sub-principles of paradigm and firmware. I almost changed it to mandate. Firmware to mandate. I actually changed it in the template, but then I switched it back. Firmware is better. So nature. Nature is everything has a particular nature. I always pick something out, and I promise I do an animal this time. A mosquito. Mosquito has a nature of being a category of life form, technical scientific name Diptera, which is the order of flies, has 2 proper wings and halteres on the back. That's how it keeps that gyroscopic action, such a good flyer. They tend to be, the females at least, are bloodsuckers. In order to get a good blood meal to make eggs, they reproduce in that manner. I think the males eat nectar, and they are able to fly. They're able to locate prey or locate nectar, whatever the case may be, and male or female, and then do their fly-like things. That's the nature, and they have the nature in relation to humans to be rather annoying and dangerous in some cases, lots of cases. 3, hold on. Paradigm. Paradigm is a part of nature. Paradigm, the nature thingy. Paradigm is perspective along with, what did I say? It's perspective and will. No? Perspective and modus operandi. It's the way that we operate. So I have a certain perspective on the world and a way that I operate. That is my paradigm. Each of us has our own individual paradigm. Likewise, we have a paradigm within our families, shared paradigm, social groups, church societies, religious affiliation, and cultures, culture groups, language group, sexual orientation group, countries, all this stuff. Everything has a paradigm. And it's just a reminder that when I'm dealing with someone else, that's coming at the situation from a separate paradigm. They're probably, in almost every case in my experience in life, trying to do something good. They're just doing it from a different paradigm. And I need to not necessarily respect it in all cases, but, I need to understand that and try to work together with that. And then firmware, aka mandate, aka back firmware, is the hard coding in our brains that tells us to do things like find a mate, have sex, reproduce, care for offspring, care for spouse and family, protect the clan, all those things. And my simple point is, we don't necessarily need to do that, but if you try to, we've kind of broken free from a lot of that. There's plenty of us, and the problem is that our firmware is still there. So if you choose to not do any of those things, but you feel a driving need to do those, but you want to do something else, watch out. It's probably not going to go away. You may be able to mute it, but it'll dog you. So you kind of feel like you need to have children. That's a better word, need to have children, but you don't want to have children. Just be ready for the bittersweet pangs of sadness that you missed that chance when you become middle-aged and you see families, parents with children growing up and leaving and going out on their own, the deep satisfaction that comes of that, and the recognition that you forfeited that. I'm trying to say it's okay to forfeit that, but you may not be able to escape the consequences of forfeiting that, because that's a part of our firmware. It's almost hardwired into us. I'm not going fast. 3, the principle of maturity and the sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude. Maturity is that situation where we have both experience and an aptitude to utilize that experience towards better ends, towards better living. Wisdom is the actual experience itself, which in itself yields a great deal of maturity if we're willing to execute upon it. We can actually get by quite well without much fortitude. Fortitude's the next thing, because if we're making good decisions along the way, it doesn't take a lot of fortitude to withstand the difficulties, because we're making dang good decisions. But if we're not making good decisions, we can appear as though we're live as though we're making good decisions through fortitude, by being able to withstand the consequences of our bad decisions and push on through. That's what military academies do, boot camp, police academies, school. They discipline us to get through. Religion does that too. Religion's very good about that, actually, unless it's telling you to bang someone on the head because they don't believe the same thing, or tell them to go to hell. So the next one is social principle, and I want to add 2 things here, 2 new sub-principles. The social principle, which I always thought was all alone by itself, where there was just 6 letters. Yeah. So the first one is justice, and I can't remember. It's right up there on the screen, because because I just added it. It takes me about a week when I add new stuff to finally get it filters in that it comes up automatic when I bring it up. Justice is one of them. I may be able to come back to it. Justice is a part of the social principle. Justice per the reasonable prescriptions of our society, the best laws and principles of our society. What is that other one? It's sitting right there on the screen. You guys can see it if anybody's watching that. I can't remember what it is though. Oh well, if I'll try to come back to it. The next one is, now I'm all lost because I kind of missed that one up. Oh, is it Temperance? Okay, hold on. Atomic, nature, maturity, social, temperance. No, yeah, Temperance. That's right. Temperance is the ability to restrain our consumption. Goods, activities, and emotions. Most importantly for me, emotions. To be able to feel an emotion arise, and then to be able to sample it, assess it, and then formulate a reasonable response all within a moment. It really is important to be able to do this on the fly. It's almost like simultaneous. No, that's a crappy example. It's just you got to do it fast, because if you can't do this fast, then you're going to be doing it after the fact, which isn't very helpful. Yeah. Then you end up apologizing all the time, and then you end up eating too much, and then you end up working too hard, or playing too much, or oversleeping, or not getting enough sleep. In essence, living a pretty a less than optimal life. Next is what's next? Oh, agency and indifference. Agents are anything that's alive and exerts some will, which I guess is anything that's alive. Plants exercise a will. They exercise some will upon the natural environment through the space that they take up and the chemicals that they exude and the shade that they provide, and also the pollen, the nectars that they give, the fruits that they provide. They exert some will. They force, a flower can force its will upon a honeybee, to get it to transport nectar from the pollen from plant to plant. And the things that agents produce are their artifacts. Those are the artifacts of agency. When you subtract it all away, you take it all away, you're left with what I call the great indifference, which is the inorganic world. Inorganic world? No, the inanimate world. Inanimate world, right, because you can have organic molecules, they're not animate, but so it's the inanimate world. The world of silicon, of rocks and stones and gas and space, energy and time, which is a lot of stuff, and it don't give a damn about us. The moon, the char on the moon of Pluto, it doesn't give a damn whether you and I live or whether our planet lives, and that's the attitude of the rest of the universe. And people like to claim that there is a great agent behind it all, God, but no one has been able to claim that with any degree of sufficiency, such that at least that I don't buy it. And I try to listen objectively. I was listening this morning over breakfast, trying to listen to an objective argument for it. Once again, falls flat. It all comes down to wishful thinking, reading between the lines, presupposition, and when all else fails, the application of that horrible human characteristic, horrible human trait of faith. And I'm not talking about faith, which is the reasonable expectation that we have in one another, like the faith that I have that my wife is true to me, or the faith that I have that the seatbelt will work, or the faith that I have in what is the word? Adjudicated? Is that only for justice, or well vetted and peer reviewed science that withstands critical review and empirical tests. You could say I do have faith in those things. I do have faith in those, but it's a different type of faith. It's a faith that is earned of experience, earned of reputation, but I hold it tentatively, and I'm willing to give it up in a moment's notice. Faith that has no track record of any, in any objective sense, is nothing but wishful thinking. And the holding of such faith is, I'm sorry to say, is I'm not the first to say it, but is a little distinguished from gullibility. The gullibility defined as the acceptance of principles and ideas without good reason to believe in them, without good evidence. Likewise, faith, that's exact same definition. Acceptance or holding of a principle or a belief without a good objective reason to hold that. How did I get down that rat hole at 25 minutes? Now I gotta really move fast. Okay, where was I? Okay, agency and indifference. So watch out for the artificial agents that human beings are wanting to create in order to mask the great indifference. And also, there's the times two there, two types of indifference, the great indifference and then the little indifference. The little I is what we have inside of us that allows us to recognize our sphere of influence and control, and then we can apply indifference to the other things that we can't control. It doesn't mean we don't care about them. It's easy to confuse that. It doesn't mean that I don't care about the fact that people, how do I do this without taking it too close to the bone? Okay, but let me try. As a project manager, it's outside of my control whether or not the people on my team actually execute their task, or I execute. I have to keep it in that other person. It's outside of my control whether someone else actually executes their task on time. So I'm not going to get upset about that. But what I will do is I will actually use reasonable judgment and my ability to communicate and perform activities to ensure that those things do get done by the proper channels. See, so it's a matter of I'm not going to get upset about something that I can't control. But it doesn't mean I'm divorced from that thing, and that I won't do things to make it better. Not a good example. I'm way off course, but there's the difference. Difference, big I, little I. There is a distinction. And the little I one is one I really use a lot, as much as temperance, maybe more. Okay, the best seat in the house, right here, right now. The perspective that I have on the world. I don't want to be anywhere else than exactly where I am on the 91 freeway, just passing Green River. And on the way to work, long day ahead of me, challenging day ahead of me. Doesn't mean that this is I'm resigned to this, but I'm okay with this. And even if my car breaks down, I'm going to be okay with that too. I'll work towards fixing it, but I'll be okay. I just can't speed this up. Next is reason, the governing faculty, the ability to make sense of the world, to gather facts, create arguments, check those arguments to see if the results are accurate, and if so, then continue working with that tentatively, and if not, then make better arguments, get more facts, make better arguments. Next, I changed it around. I was calling this purpose, little principle, faith, virtue. I'm switching it back around. It used to be that it was virtue followed by purpose, and I'm back to that. The big the big principle here is virtue, which is is doing things. I define virtue as doing things that improve the well-being of as many as possible, reduce suffering and increase well-being. And the sub-principle there is purpose. That the only purpose that we really seem to have as human beings is the mandate to reproduce and to send our genes into the next, or as many copies of our genes into the next generation as possible. Outside of that, it's up to us to formulate our own purpose, and I pro-offer the purpose of virtue as a very worthy purpose for any human being to have, sufficient in its own ends, no less. Quite comprehensive, I think, if I do say so myself. Next is the path of wildness, which is the ability to break ourselves out of a rut. Gotta have this if you're going to avoid becoming a monster. Well, you don't have to use the path of wildness if you're really, really good at thinking things through and acting upon your best judgments. But if you're not, then and you're one of those people that write to me that gets stuck in life, just can't seem to go forward due to anxiety and fear of the consequences, then I offer you to gather as many facts as you can, use as much time as you possibly can within reason. Don't spend your whole damn life thinking about it, but give yourself some time, and then if you can formulate a good, reasonable plan, do that. If you can't, then use your gut feeling and go forward. You might jump right into a disaster, but at least you're moving. And experience for me has been that the act of moving alone is a virtuous end in terms of helping us to develop and move and improve as human beings. Next, here we go, 30 minutes. Oh my gosh, gotta wrap it up. Virtue, that was path of wildness. Next, this is the big ones coming down. This is the bam. It's the 1, 2, 3 leading to monster. 1 is the risk of avoiding risk. What risk do you assume in avoiding the things that you're afraid of? So what do you take on? Like, for example, not living the life that you want to live for fear that you won't be able to pay your house off in time, or enjoy a comfortable retirement, or that you'll disappoint your family and friends, or that you'll appear a weirdo. What risk then do you assume? And the risk that I'd say you assume is the risk of living a life of sin and damnation. It's the next principle, by virtue of the fact that you're not living according to your nature, which is telling you about the type of life you want to live. Now, that life, you can't follow that if the call from your nature is to become a pedophile or a serial killer or something like that, because whatever it is has to be tempered with the social principle and the principle of virtue, which indicates that we need to be doing things to reduce suffering in the world and improve well-being. Well-being being defined by the well-being in agreement with as large a number of people as possible, with the caveat of civil disobedience should you believe that they're wrong. So you could wind up being a serial killer if you think that constitutes a better end, in which case I would offer that that's where our legal system and our justice has to come in to hold you in check and to get you to restrain you from the perceived good of the many. Wow, that's complicated. Wow, no wonder human life is so complicated. But anyway, back to it. I gotta wrap this up quick. So we have the risk of avoiding risk can lead to the sin of not following. If you don't watch out for that, it could lead to the sin of not living according to your nature in a just and virtuous manner, which leads to damnation, which is not in anywhere. It's in the here and now. Damnation is right now. You don't have to wait for an afterlife for it. You get to live damnation now. Good news is it stops when you die, or when you get back on track and live a better life. Live according to your nature in a just and virtuous manner. So, and then finally, is that all I wanted to say for that one? Oh, oblivion. There's something in parentheses there. There's something in parentheses around oblivion, I think. Or gosh, what is it? Can't remember. These little sub-principles are getting me. And then finally, the last one, no, the principles, it's sitting down. I'm getting confused. I'm missing some sub-principles. The second to last one is oblivion, complete oblivion, which is coming. When you die, there's no reason to think that anything is going to survive. Oh yeah, and there will be no justice because there's no afterlife. There will be no justice in the afterlife. Criminals will get away with their bad guys. The bullies will get away with it. There will be no meeting of the friends and family who have died. They're gone. If you want to have justice now, you got to seek after it now. Not vendetta, but in order to live a just life and pursue social justice. If you want to see your loved ones, do it now. Call mom today. Make an arrangement to take her to lunch. Note to self. Actually, I do that a lot these days, and largely because of this. Don't wait, because you're not going to see them. There's not going to be some mansion in the sky afterwards. You're going to go visit mom and her grandma in her big mansion. Oh my gosh. Where do people come up with this stuff? So oblivion's coming, and not only your body, but also everything about you. Of course your mind, of course course, everything that consists of you, and most likely everything that you've ever created, including your genetic structure, will be dissolved away into the fabric of the sea of the human gene pool. And also, the only thing that's going to survive is whatever ripples you send out of virtue, whatever ripples of virtue, social virtue shared through social intercourse. There's that word again. Through the course of your life, that's all that will survive, and it will be anonymous. So expect anonymous virtue to be your legacy.